Hello and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast, the Global Force Wrestling edition. I am your host, Lewis Carlin, and we, as always, we are part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. Just a quick plug, if you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at Tapped Out Pod, and you can follow me on Twitter at PWSOTH, or you could follow the podcast. I'm a little tired, folks. I'm sorry. I almost said website. Podcast, at PW Personified. So at PW Personified, follow us on Twitter. Usually on these shows, on the Global Force Wrestling Show, I am going solo, but today I actually have a guest with me. He's from KayfabeToday. He's a Global Force Wrestling contributor, to KayfabeToday. Please help me welcome Mr. Andrew Sparling. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself? How's your week going?
It's pretty good so far. My had to go. My grandmother had surgery, but other than that, things have been pretty good.
Oh, I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay. Everything good with your grandmother?
Yeah, she's good. It was just she had hand surgery, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad she's okay, man.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the show this week in Global Force Wrestling?
I actually thought it was pretty decent this week. Lately it's been getting pretty good. I think it wasn't there for a while. It was kind of not doing too good, but ever since they've been the whole Global Force Wrestling and Impact, the whole combination together, I think things have been picking up. And this week, I think it was a pretty good show this week.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been a fan of Global Force Wrestling for a while. Honestly, I had mixed feelings about the show this week. There were some things that I liked and some things I didn't like. We could, what'd you think of the main event? Between the Patron family and LAX. I know they started the program with LAX in the clubhouse, and they indicated that they had a new member that was going to join. But what did you think of the whole main event between the Patron family and LAX?
I thought I was kind of confused for a minute of what was going to happen, but the match, I guess. Of course, Patron, he did most of the work, but I thought that things were going to get a little hairy there for a minute with everything that went down. But I thought the match was. I like LAX in the ring anyway. They usually kick some butt in the ring. So
sure.
Yeah, I thought the match was it was a pretty. I'd say it was an okay match. I guess it wasn't the greatest. But
I'll be honest. If they didn't announce in the beginning of the show that LAX had a new member that was going to be introduced, I would have had no interest in the match. I don't know if you saw last week, El Patron by himself single-handedly ran right through LAX, and then this week it's the same three guys against him and his family. So I wasn't really excited about the match, except for the fact that there was going to be a new member, and the match itself was decent. I was reading some reports online that his brother was botching moves, but I thought his brother was pretty good for the first time of seeing him in the ring. So I thought he was pretty good. Of course, his dad Dos Caras is almost 70 years old. He can't do much in the ring, but it wasn't that bad of a match. It was a decent match. And what'd you think about Low Key being the new member?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a twist. I wasn't expecting it to be Low Key, so I think he fits good with him and Conan kind of together. The whole thing that I think he kind of fits good with LAX.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wasn't expecting Low Key. I was expecting somebody like from AAA, or they were going to get like last week. I was mentioning that a good new member of LAX would have been Ricky Banderas, who's Mil Muertes on Lucha Underground. I wasn't. I'm sorry.
That would have been awesome if that was him.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking, that they need a legitimate threat to Alberto El Patron's Global Force world title. Low key, I don't know if he's that a legitimate threat. I mean, I'm glad to see him in LAX, but he's been on a bit of a losing streak lately, and I don't know if he poses that legitimate threat. But I would love for them to bring in Ricky Banderas, even as Mil Muertes. That would be fantastic. I don't know. So you think Low Key he's gonna, I guess, get a shot at the Global Force Wrestling title? How do you see Alberto Patron Low Key match playing out?
I don't think they would let Low Key take the title from him. I don't think Low Key's that they would push him like that. But I think a match between the two would be a pretty decent thing. I think Low Key's good, and he's really good in the ring. And Patron, he when he was in the WWE, I didn't really like his character, but he's always done good stuff in the ring, in my opinion, anyway. But I think a match between the two would be great, but I really don't think they should put the title or give Low Key the title, maybe a title shot, but I don't think that he should take the title. I don't think that would work good.
No, not at all. I agree with you 100%. That wouldn't work at all. And I like you, I don't think that's going to happen. Do you think we'll see Rey Mysterio? You think we'll see Rey Mysterio eventually coming to the aid of El Patron? Because I'm sure there's going to be other members of LAX that are going to be introduced. But could you see? I don't know if you saw the reports. Rey Mysterio has turned down the WWE offer, which all signs now lead to Global Force Wrestling. For Rey Mysterio, so I would love to see Rey Mysterio come in to help El Patron in the battle with LAX.
Yeah, I think Ray would be good for the whole show, everything, and helping El Patron. I think that would give him somebody. I mean, he has his family on his side, but I think that would give the fans, like, they know who Mysterio is. So I think it would draw more people to the show, and I think that it would be just chaos in the ring, you know what I mean?
No, of course, absolutely, I agree 100%. Like, I know they were hinting towards they were teasing towards the show that as the show was progressing, I should say, that his brother or his father was gonna turn and join LAX. Honestly, I personally didn't care about that because they're not really invested in, really don't know much about the brother. And, I know Dos Caras from the 70s and 80s. So I really, if one of them joined LAX, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. And I don't think the fans would have cared. Do you share that opinion? If it was one of them and not Low Key?
Yeah, I don't think it would have been much of an impact. You know what I mean? No pun intended.
There you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been too much worried about. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't have been too much invested into it if it was his brother. And I mean, turning on your brother, it's kind of a cool thing, an unexpected thing. It's your family, but I don't think. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been too invested in it too much now.
No, me neither. I wouldn't. I don't think the fans would have. The fans wouldn't have cared either. And I know he teased that he was going to hit him with the chair, and then he hit LAX. And then, but I'm glad. Low Key adds a nice dimension, and I like his jacket. Now it says LAX. So that's pretty cool. So what did you? One thing when they had El Patron and they had his brother El Hijo de Dos Caras. That's a silly name. I think he needs to change his name. And Dos Caras, right. And they were interviewing him, and him and his brother were going back and forth, and they were squabbling. Karen Jarrett came out, as a peacemaker. I thought that was a little corny. What do you think about Karen Jarrett saying, "Come on, it's all about family, guys"? What do you think about that?
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of silly.
Yeah, that was kind of silly. I don't know what. I think it was just a way to go into the whole thing with Bruce Pritchard coming out.
Yeah.
And like a segue over. It was kind of silly, kind of weird.
Yeah, speaking of Bruce Pritchard, let's go into the Trevor Lee and the Sanjay Dutt fiasco that's going on right now. Trevor Lee, he stole the X Division title from Sanjay Dutt, and Dutt's trying to get his title back, but Bruce Pritchard, who's obviously turning heel, bans him from the arena, and so we have Trevor Lee against Mumbai Cat, and it was quite obvious to me that Sanjay Dutt was going to be one of the Mumbai Cats. But how do you feel about the whole Trevor Lee, Sanjay Dutt, Bruce Pritchard thing that's going on right now?
Well, I've been a Trevor Lee fan for a long time.
Oh yeah, me too.
I love the way I like the way that he stole the belt and he won't take it off. Keeps it on while he wrestles because he doesn't want it to get taken away.
Sure.
I think that's pretty. It's a funny kind of thing that he does, but the whole thing with banning Sanjay Dutt. I mean, it's cool for the storyline. I like how they're going with that. But Bruce Pritchard, I'm not a fan of him anyway. I never was. But,
okay, not even his Brother Love. You weren't a fan of his Brother Love.
Maybe a little bit, but yeah, not too much. I wasn't a big Brother.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, no, the whole thing is confusing to me as well. I mean, like you said, I love Trevor Lee. Trevor Lee, I think, should be the cornerstone of the X Division. And I'm glad we're seeing Trevor Lee on TV now week after week. But I just don't. I'm not a fan of the whole angle that he's. We've seen the angle before where a wrestler's stolen the title. But Bruce Pritchard banning Sanjay Dutt because all Sanjay Dutt wants to do is get his title back, and none of the other Authority members are getting involved here. So I think it's I'm not a big fan of the angle, but I'm glad it's finally that we're going to see the match at Destination X between the ladder match between Sanjay Dutt and Trevor Lee. That should be fantastic. Although in this match, Trevor Lee was made to look like a schmuck after he got pinned by Mumbai Cat number 2, which was revealed to be Sanjay Dutt rather easily. So I didn't like that either. I think I would have been more inclined to Lee just running out of the ring and getting counted out or something instead of taking that pinfall loss. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that they shouldn't have made him look, like you said, they made him look like a schmuck, really. I don't think. I mean, it was cool that it was Dutt under the mask, but I think that if he would have took the mask off and then pinned him, that kind of would have been a little more feasible, But yeah, it kind of made him look like Trevor Lee's a pushover,
Sure.
But then when you found out that it was Sanjay Dutt, it kind of fixed it a bit. But I don't understand why Pritchard keeps banning Sanjay Dutt. I mean, it's not like he's a big, huge Braun Strowman kind of guy. He's not going to come in and destroy everything. He just wants his belt back.
I know, and it's like they ban him because he's disrupting the show, but he's just trying to get back what's rightfully his. And another thing is, after he hit the frog splash and he pinned Trevor Lee, he had Trevor Lee down. He should have just grabbed the title and just ran off. That would have made a lot of sense right there. I mean, the title was within his reach. He should have just grabbed the title and just taken off, and that would have been the end of that. But I guess we got to set up that ladder match, which should be fantastic at Destination X. Between them.
I think he wants more of a fight.
I'm sorry?
I think he wants more of a fight out of it than just taking the belt back.
Yeah, sure. Well, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be a phenomenal match. Who do you think is going to win? I'm hoping Trevor Lee, officially becomes the X Division champion because, like I said, I think he should be the cornerstone of the X Division. But who do you think is going to win that match between Dutt and Trevor Lee?
I think they're going to give Dutt the belt back. I think that he may win it, but I don't know. I'm kind of a toss up. I think it would be cool to keep the fight, maybe a rematch here and there. But I think that Dutt will get the belt back, and then there should be a legitimate, fight for the belt instead of him stealing it and then them working it that way.
Sure.
I think that would be that would be a little bit better, in my opinion, anyway.
No, I actually agree. That would be. Let's just. I just want this little silly angle to end, and let's just get the X Division back to the person who deserves the most. And I hope it's Trevor Lee. I hope it's Trevor Lee. I love Trevor Lee.
Yes.
So what did you think of the Super X Cup match that opened the show between Desmond Xavier and Drago?
Oh, that match was the best match of the show, I think.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree with you on that one for sure. That was definitely a solid match between the two. I don't know. That's just that the Drago's tongue really freaks me out, man. Every time he sticks it out, so that's the only thing that freaks me out. That freaked me out during the match is he comes out with that long blue tongue. But the match was very, very solid, very fun. Lots of fast paced action. I think Desmond Xavier showed that he was really resilient. He kept kicking out. Drago just couldn't put him away, and then he hit the final flash, and he moves on. But again, a fantastic match. What do you think? Who do you think Desmond Xavier's opponent's going to be? I think it's going to be ACH, but who do you think he's going to be facing the finals?
Yeah, I think it's going to be ACH too. I'm glad to see ACH. Sammy Guevara was good to see him to being on Impact. I mean, of course he got beat, but yeah, I think it's going to be ACH. I really like seeing him on TV. I mean, I've seen him on, in matches and stuff, but I'm glad that if he could be. I'm hoping what happens is after the cup's over, some of these guys actually get to be in the X division and see him more often. But as far as Desmond Xavier facing for the person he's going to face, I think it's going to be ACH. I think so.
No, I agree with you on that one, as I mentioned. But yeah, I'm loving the Super X Cup. It's fantastic. I really hope, like you mentioned, Sammy Guevara. I hope they give that guy a contract because he was fantastic. I'm a little disappointed that he lost. 'Cause I really like Sammy. I know he lost to Drago, but I hope they give him a contract. I like to see a lot more of Sammy Guevara in Global Force Wrestling. I like Taji Ishimori as well. I kind of feel bad that. I guess either one would be a great opponent for Desmond Xavier, but I'm going to go with ACH, and that's going to be a fantastic match. Xavier against ACH. What do you think about next week? It's ACH against Ishimori. That should be a phenomenal match as well.
Yeah, I've never really seen Ishimori in the ring. I don't really follow too much Japan wrestling. So I've never really seen him, so I don't know what he can do in the ring. I know ACH is a beast in the ring, but I don't really have an opinion really because I haven't seen him. I mean, I'm sure I can find him on YouTube or something, but I've never really seen him. So, okay. I mean, I put all the cards on ACH, but that's kind of a biased opinion because I've never seen Ishimori in the ring. So. But I love ACH. He's a beast in the ring.
No, I agree. And just going back to Drago for a second, I was looking online to trying to figure out how he does that tongue thing. Do you have any idea? Is it just a blue tongue that is it maybe a candy tongue that he could eat after? Like, how does he do that? I mean, I look closely. I never see him taking the tongue out of his mouth or anything like that.
Yeah.
Any idea how he does that, man? I couldn't find anything online.
Yeah, I've never seen him get rid of it. I watch Lucha Underground. He's in Lucha Underground a lot.
Oh yeah,
he always comes with the tongue and I don't know. I don't understand. It's just like when they people do the mist. They just hold it in their mouth. I mean, that's a little different. That's just water. They just spit it. But with that tongue, I don't understand what he does with it, unless it is something that he can just swallow. Or
I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen. I look very closely. I've been watching on YouTube. I pause it. I go back. I never see him take it out of his mouth. So I don't. Unless, like I said, unless it's like candy, it just dissolves in like a minute or two. But I don't know. It kind of freaks me out. But it goes good with his character, of course. But it kind of freaks me out, man. I hope nobody ever gets licked with that tongue. That would be horrible, man. I can see his new finishing move is the face lick, and he just knocks people out with the face. Instead of spraying mist, he just licks people on the face and knocks them right out.
Oh, that'd be kind of nasty.
So what else do we have going on? Oh yeah, we had the. Actually, before I go into EC3 Moose, what do you think of the new tag team coming in, OVE? I think it's one versus everything. It looks terrific. I think it's David and is it Jack Christ or Christ that's coming in?
Yeah, Dave and Jake Christ.
Jake. Okay.
Yeah, Dave and Jake. Yeah, I've loved those guys forever. They're so awesome. I'm so glad that they're coming to Impact. They're amazing. I love them guys.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. So they're debuting at Destination X, so that should be a terrific little debut there. It's a nice get. Now, like I said, I mentioned I think last week or the week before that their videos kind of remind me a little bit of Sanity. Are you seeing that, or am I completely off base with that?
Yeah, a little bit. I guess you could say that. Yeah, it's a little bit like kind of like Sanity. I guess you could. Yeah, I guess.
I'm probably completely off base, but that was my initial thought. But before I pass judgment, I just want to see the entire act first before I say, oh, that's just a Sanity ripoff, which I'm sure it's not going to be. So I'm looking forward to seeing them at Destination X. I don't think it's it's a Sanity ripoff, but it's kind of similar. Okay,
a little. I don't think it's a ripoff, but when you get in there and they get in those guys are amazing in the ring. They kill it all the time, and if they come with the characters that they're portraying in the video, it's going to be so awesome.
Okay, I actually rip off, poor choice of words there, so I apologized for that, Andrew. I shouldn't say rip off because I really I shouldn't pass judgment. But when you're doing a podcast and you're thinking words you might spit a few words out that you don't really mean. So to OVE, I apologize for calling you guys a possible Sanity rip off. So please accept my apology. Okay, so sorry about that, man. Again, poor choice of words on my part. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm sorry, man. So what'd you think of EC3 against Moose? What'd you think of that match? Actually, before you tell me about what you think of the match, what do you think about the grand title rules where you have the 3 rounds and the point system?
I understand where they're coming with. Wasn't Billy Corgan that came up with that?
Yes, it was Billy Corgan.
Yeah, I think he was trying to combine UFC with wrestling, the whole rounds thing. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that at all. The whole points and all that stuff. But I just don't think that they should have brought that. I mean, it was kind of okay at first, like, oh, this is different. But I don't like how they do the rounds thing and the points. And wrestling's never been about points. You know what I mean? It's always been about put in and do, whoever pins wins. It was never. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think the point system works in professional wrestling, because it has a predetermined ending. So I don't think it works well. It works well maybe in MMA and possibly boxing, but it doesn't work well in professional wrestling. I've never been a fan of the 3 rounds and the point system because the match never really could get going because once it starts heating up a little bit, the round ends and then you have to start the next round. And it seems to me that every single grand title match, the champion will win one round, the challenger will win another round, and it's got to come to the sudden death the 3rd round. Whoever wins the 3rd round is the victor. It seems that's the formula that they use. I think one time, it was Moose against Marshe Rocket, where Moose pinned him in the 2nd round. But other than that, it's normally just the champion will win one round, the challenger wins one round, and it comes down to the 3rd round. And I thought the match itself was okay, but again, it can never really get going because of the rounds. And what you think about Pritchard's 10-8 score? I guess he's, I thought he was turning heel. You think he's turning heel, but EC3 is a heel, so I don't know. And they're kind of at odds with each other, right? So Pritchard and EC3 are both heels, both at odds with each other. So I don't know. Is Pritchard turning heel, or I don't know what's going on with Pritchard. So what did you think about that 10-8 score?
Yeah, I thought it was a little funny that it was going to happen that way. Like he planned it in his head. He was going to give it to EC3 anyway. So maybe he's trying to, I mean, of course, EC3. I love EC3's new character, his new, his kind of, he's always kind of been I'm better than anybody, but the whole thing with the strap, he's whipping people and all. But I think that Pritchard is maybe turning heel. I don't know. Like I said, never been a fan of Pritchard, so I just thought the whole 10-8 thing. Like I said, the point system's weird to me. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I if it was up to me, I don't mind the grand title, but just make it a traditional match. I think it would be a lot better if they just made it a traditional match.
Exactly.
Or do they even need the grand title? I mean, they already have. Well, I guess another title wouldn't be too bad. But make it a traditional match would make it. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. Even when I know you took my spot at Kayfabe today. You're writing for Global Force Wrestling. Just didn't have the time anymore because I'm doing the podcast. But even when I was doing the reviews of Global Force Wrestling, when it was Impact and when Billy Corgan first introduced it, I was not a fan of it at all. And I just, months and months and months I've been saying, let's make it a traditional match. And by the way, you're doing a great job with the Global Force Wrestling reviews. So good job on that for Kayfabe today, brother.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. I've been doing a lot. I have time on my hands, so plus okay. I'm a fan anyway, so I do a lot over there, and I love it. I love writing, for the site and everything. I love it.
Yeah, sure. Actually, before we move on and talk about some other stuff, why don't we just do a few plugs right now? And if there's anything you want to plug, I'll let you begin. If you have anything, any websites, any Twitter accounts, any Facebook, anything you want to plug, just plug away, man.
Okay, well, yeah, you can find me on Twitter it's at only Mark Spector, and of course you can find I write for the Kayfabe Today website, and I cover just about everything WWE and Global Force and Impact and Wrestle Circus and Rockstar Pro and Modern Vintage, and I do pretty much a lot of stuff over there. But other than that, yeah, that's about
so
you
do a hell. I didn't realize you do a hell of a lot of writing for them. That's a lot of promotions to cover. I mean, I was covering Impact Wrestling and I was doing a random review. I thought that was taking up much of my time, but you're covering like 5 or 6 or is it 7 different promotions? So that's awesome, man. I could never do that. That's and like I said, you do a terrific job and keep up the great work. But Wrestle Circus is interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just started getting into it. I know, I think, was it Brandy Rhodes who was just there, against somebody? She took on a man, I can't remember the gentleman's name that she took on, but it was Brandy Rhodes against somebody, and she came out with the ROH title. Who was that she wrestled there?
Yeah, the show was last night. It was the Cody Rhodes, Summer Super Show, or whatever it was called. Yeah, she faced, Kevin Condren, the guy, he's with Scorpio Sky, and the stipulation was if Brandy won the match, then Cody Rhodes wouldn't have to defend the ROH title in the main event. But what happened? She lost the match to Kevin Condren, which went by Snowflake in the match, which was kind of weird. But he won the match, so Cody had to defend his title in the main event. The ROH title.
Okay, well, since we're getting a little bit of Wrestle Circus information here, who did he face and who did he? I'm sure whoever he faced, he defeated and kept the ROH title. So who did he have to face?
Yeah, he faced Scorpio Sky.
Oh wow, that must have been a fantastic match, man.
Yeah, it was a real good match, really, really good match. Wrestle Circus is a super fun show. Anyway, the whole entire show is fun.
All right, there you go.
But yeah, he wrestled Scorpio Sky, and of course, they're not going to let the ROH title be taken on a non-Ring of Honor show. But it was fun to see him put the title up.
Yeah, I mean, Scorpio Sky is someone that I think would be terrific in the X Division. I think he was actually in the X Division under a different name. a few years back, but he would make a great addition to the X Division in Global Force Wrestling.
Yeah.
So that was a little Wrestle Circus information there. I'm just going to do a few plugs and then we'll carry on. So as I said earlier, this is the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast. We are part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. You can check us out at tappedOutWrestlingPodcast.com. Loads of podcasts on there with lots of interviews with legends such as Tommy Rich, with Bullet Bob Armstrong. I recently did an interview with Steve Wilson, the man behind Congo Kong, Global Force Wrestling Superstar. So you could go on there, you could check that out. It's all on there. TappedOutWrestlingPodcast.com. If you're a professional wrestling fan or MMA fan, if you don't have the Fight app, you have to get the Fight app. The Fight app is phenomenal. Do you have the Fight app, Andrew?
Oh yes, I do some reviews off the Fight app.
Yeah, no, it's a terrific
I love it.
Terrific channel to have. So if you're a professional wrestling fan, you need to get the Fight app. The Fight app is fantastic. If you need a t-shirt, go to Pro Wrestling Tees, TEES.com. Pro Wrestling Tees. If you want to send us an email, tappedOutWrestlingPodcast@gmail.com. And as I said on Twitter, at TappedOutPod, at PWSOTH, or at PW Personified. And don't forget, if you want to see some, if you want to read some terrific wrestling content, and they have everything covered in professional wrestling, KayfabeToday is the place to go. Fantastic website. Andrew, as we stated a number of times, is a writer, does a great job. Had Luke Dorsch, who I've been doing the ROH show with, as a writer for them as well. And I try to get a review in here and there. But great website, KayfabeToday.com. You got to go there and check it out. All right, so actually, I want to just go back to Bruce Pritchard for a second, actually, because they had an interview with Bruce Pritchard and Dutch Mantell in separate interviews, and they were discussing, the EC3 and Moose match, and they both indicated they don't know which match the other one was watching. So it kind of seems like, I don't know, maybe that there's going to be a Bruce Pritchard Dutch Mantell power struggle there. Do you get that feeling also, or that there might be a little power struggle between the two?
Yeah, I think that would be a cool, a nice little angle. I like Dutch Mantell. I liked him when he was with what's his name? I can't even think of his name. Jack Swagger.
Swagger, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that would be a neat little power struggle behind the scenes kind of power struggle thing going. That would be okay, I think.
Yeah, okay. Well, speaking of Jack Swagger, he's actually in negotiations to come to Global Force Wrestling, so we may see a Swagger Dutch Mantell reunion in the near future, which would be phenomenal. So I know Rey Mysterio, as I mentioned, and Jack Swagger are both in negotiations to come to Global Force Wrestling, which would be fantastic if we.
Johnny Mundo.
I'm sorry,
Johnny Mundo. And,
that's
Taya.
right. That's right. I forgot the live show. I think he went by John Hennigan, but he's on his way to Global Force Wrestling as well. So it's a good thing you pointed that out. I forgot about the live shows, which happened Friday and Saturday, which were actually, from what I hear, they were very successful. But yeah, John Hennigan and I don't watch too much Lucha Underground because I don't get it. But there was another. Is it Tara or Talia, the Valkyrie? Taya, yeah. So she was part of the show as well, of the live shows.
Yeah, that's her and Hennigan. They're husband wife. I'm not sure if they're married yet. But
okay.
Yeah, they travel together, so they're both coming to Impact, which is great.
Oh, maybe we could see them against Braxton Sutter and Allie, be husband and wife versus husband and wife. That would be interesting. Although Braxton Sutter seems to be turning heel right now. So speaking of Braxton Sutter, we had KM, Falaba, Mario Baccara against Grado, Suicide, and Braxton Sutter. I thought it was a fun little match. What did you think about the match?
Yeah, I thought it was cool, putting all them guys together, and of course the whole Grado thing with Laurel Van Ness, and that match kind of got cut off kind of early because Congo Kong and all that stuff went on. But as far as the match, I like Falaba. I mean, he's a huge guy, but he can move in the ring, you know, and I really like seeing him in the ring. I don't know why I'm a fan of him. I just, but I like seeing him in. I don't like KM. I've never been a big fan of KM, but and of course with Suicide, him. I'm glad to see him back. I'm not. It's not. TJP used to be Suicide years ago when he first came into
Sure,
Impact,
sure.
and it's not him under there now. But I like him in the X division's better. But it was good seeing him in this match. The whole everybody together. I like the match. It was an okay match.
Yeah, no, it was good. I agree. I've been a fan of Falaba since I first saw him debut on Global Force Wrestling, and I like Mario Baccara, but I don't think they've actually won a match since they've debuted. They're basically used as enhancement talent from all I can see, but extremely talented. He moves so well for a big guy. They need a push. They deserve a big push. Ba and Baccara, or just Ba, because like I said, he moves so well in the ring. That running the running dive splash where he just the flying body press splash onto that is freaking awesome, man. And he moves so well, and I kind of like KM. I know you said you don't like him, but I kind of like the bully segments that he had a few weeks back. And my daughter loved them. She was. My daughter would go around after she would see them and she would like say to me, "Hey, did you get the text that I sent you?" And I would say, "You didn't send me a text." And she would look at me and in her best KM impression, she would go, "Are you calling me a liar?" So I kind of like KM. So but Ba, I think Ba is definitely one guy that they need to push and push hard. And Suicide, I know you mentioned T.J. Perkins used to be Suicide. It's actually Caleb Conley now who's playing Suicide.
Well,
yeah, so Caleb Conley is under the last I read, it was Caleb Conley was under the Suicide mask. But it was a fun match. It was a fun match, but it was all about, getting Grado a win and having him call out Laurel Van Ness and Congo Kong coming out and totally destroying Grado. And I like how Ali wanted Braxton Sutter to get into the ring, but Braxton Sutter was like, no, I'm not, I don't need to help him, and he went to the back. And I wonder, because Congo Kong is not going to allow Laurel Van Ness to marry Grado, and Braxton Sutter won't help Grado when Congo Kong's attacking him, and Ali feels a little bad. So I wonder if the character of Ali is going to be the one that actually goes ahead and marries Grado so he can stay in the country. Just a thought I had. I was thinking about it the other day. What do you think about that scenario?
Yes, I think that's what's going to happen too. They've been not really pushing that, but the little things that have been happening where Braxton Sutter's, like that's not our business, but Ali wants to help. I think that's what's going to happen. So Laurel Van Ness, Congo Kong's not going to let that happen. He's keeping Laurel Van Ness to himself.
Sure.
Before the EC3 Moose match, it was supposed to be Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards, but Congo Kong beat Eddie Edwards, and the match got canceled.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I have my notes here. I just went over it. But yeah, you're right. So he destroyed Eddie Edwards, and he destroyed the standby wrestler Richard Justice as well.
That's right.
Which was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Great. Richard Justice. He probably thought Richard Justice and Grado. He's. I mean, of course, they don't look alike, but the way Congo Kong, his character, you're talking to Laurel Van Ness, so I'm going to take over, beat your ass too.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the only thing I didn't like about that is once again you had Eli Drake, who is I think one of the top talents in Global Force Wrestling, and he gets kind of screwed again because he's supposed to have would have been a terrific match against Eddie Edwards, but it didn't happen because Congo Kong destroyed Eddie Edwards prior to the match. So you got like 10 seconds of Eli Drake, and this happened to him once before. Also, he was supposed to take on Moose weeks ago for the the Grand title, and but David Richards ran down and attacked Moose, and there was no match. So, you have Eli Drake, who Josh Matthews even predicted he's going to be a champion by the end of the world champion by the end of the year. Yet you're only giving him, 10 seconds on the show, and then you have him get involved with the stupid swole mates for 20 seconds. And granted, you did have him win a big match a few weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I think they got to put the mic in his hand and let him talk because he cuts a great promo. You agree or disagree with that?
Yes, Eli Drake's my favorite in Global Force right now. I love Eli. I've loved him ever since the whole dummy thing, and when he was doing his little show thing that he had, where he was bringing people on and wouldn't let them talk. And I love Eli Drake. I love his character. It's so awesome.
No, I agree. I think he's definitely a top talent, and I'm just afraid that they're not using him correctly, and when his contract's up, he's going to wind up leaving, and I hope that doesn't happen. But they need to do something. They need to do something with Eli Drake, something of value with Eli Drake. None of this 20-second garbage or this 30-second garbage, but they need to do something of value with Eli Drake. Or I think I don't even know why he needs to be with Chris Adonis. I think Eli Drake, could be by himself. But they need to do something with him.
He was better with Tyrus. I think their whole together. I think they did a better. They were funny together,
Yeah, and right now Tyrus is being wasted as Bruce Pritchard's bodyguard. I don't know why he feels he needs a bodyguard. But
he needs to get in the ring.
Yeah, he should be in there. Absolutely, he should be in the ring because he's a talented big guy. They should get him into the ring instead of wasting him. That's another guy that they signed and they just wasted. Let him, because he's been doing this whole. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're just wasting him. I don't understand why they don't. I mean, he wasn't really doing much when he was with Eli too, but at least he was in the story. Now he just stands to the side and does nothing, which is a waste.
Absolutely, yeah, no, it's just a waste of talent, and they I don't know, there were good things with Global Force, but there were a few things that I question that I'm not sure why they're doing it. I think we covered all the bases, huh? Or did we miss anything, or anything else happen, or?
No, that was pretty much the show. Yeah, we covered everything. Yeah.
So I don't know. You go on Twitter. I know they had the live shows, and I don't know why people are still knocking Impact or Global Force Wrestling. People are taking. I've seen there are pictures that have been taken, during the pre-show, and there's like a sporadic attendance in the crowd for the the pre-show, which is I don't know, like about an hour or so before the actual card takes place. But they're showing these pictures and they're saying, "Oh, the attendance at the live shows were terrible." I don't know why people are still, if they put so much effort into knocking Global Force Wrestling, they should put that effort into actually watching the product. Because the product is damn good right now. And give them a chance. I mean, they just got it back into the live events, and people are already knocking them for quote unquote poor attendance. But they've drew like 500, 600, 700 people. So I don't think that was all that bad. I mean, how do you feel when you see something like that? It irritates me, but I don't know how you would feel when you see something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand people didn't like the whole when Impact was kind of dying down a bit, and people weren't into it anymore. But yeah, don't knock it. Don't just because there's not that many people there. There's shows where they're wrestling in a school gym when there's only 20 or 30 people in the place. And
sure.
There's just because people aren't in the audience doesn't mean people aren't. Well, of course, the live shows you can't see on television, but that they're don't knock it. I don't like that. That's not cool.
Yeah, I agree. And everyone is all upset about, when are they going to give the Hardy Boys their broken character back? It happens all the time. I mean, people leave the WWE. I mean, look at Cody. He can't even use the name Rhodes. He's got to be Cody. So it's, WWE does it to their wrestlers all the time. So I don't know why everyone is getting on, Global Force Wrestling for not releasing the broken character. So that's another thing. And everyone's going, F that owl. It's stupid. I mean, it's, instead of saying that, sit down. I put a 4-week challenge up a few weeks ago. Watch the show for 4 weeks and I guarantee you, you might not like everything. I don't like everything on the show, but it's a good show. There are a lot of really good things. And just give it a chance. Stop with the nonsense and, give Global Force Wrestling a chance. And that's all I have to say about that, man.
Yeah, me too. Give it a chance. Definitely.
All right. Well, that's about it, man. We're rolling. We're almost at 45 minutes, man. That's pretty good. So it's a good show. So you got a big week planned or?
Not much. I have a lot of writing to do, a lot of shows to cover and stuff, and
okay.
that's basically my week. So that's other than that, nothing else really.
Well, I don't know. I know, I'm up here in Ontario, so I have a 3-day weekend. I'm off tomorrow, cause it's civic holiday, which is good. You don't have, there's no holiday in the US tomorrow, right?
No. All
right. Well, up here in Ontario, we get a 3-day weekend, so I have to gloat about that. A 3-day weekend, baby. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, I know you got a lot to do. You got a lot to write, a lot of articles to write for Kayfabe Today, which everyone should be checking out, Kayfabe Today. So, I'm going to say that this is the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast, the Global Force Wrestling Edition. I want to thank my guest host, Andrew Sparling. Any closing words you have to say, Andrew?
Just to make sure everyone checks out KayfabeToday.com. To everything you want to know, need to know, reviews, everything. Check it out.
Absolutely, and I agree 100%. Check out KayfabeToday.com. Absolutely fantastic. So much coverage on there, man. So much coverage. And a lot of, everyone on the staff is extremely talented on Kayfabe Today. So definitely check it out. But okay, Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, Global Force Wrestling Edition, for the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. I'm your host, Louis Carlin. Once again, thank you, Andrew, for joining me today. And until next week, thank you, stay safe, and bye-bye.